How are you guys doing today? It's Anthony Ganji, host of Tier Talk, and today we're going to discuss inmates and social media. Inmates have been getting access to social media through smuggled contraband smartphones, and that's definitely a serious concern. But on top of that, it's the attention that they get when they go on these social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube. It's amazing. They go live on Facebook, and the amount of followers that they get instantaneously encouraging the message. And I would like to hope that the public is just not aware of the danger that poses. But again, I could be wrong. And if they're aware, maybe they just don't care. So I think it's about time we have this discussion and tell them the dangers of inmates having access to social media. And I think that in our attempts to eliminate that access, we should be more supported. And we're not. So stand by for our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to talk about inmates and their use of social media. And guys, the show is Tier Talk. Please subscribe, interact, engage this YouTube channel. Hit that bell. That bell is going to notify you each time we post a video up. All right, guys, so stand by for our sponsors.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Being a corrections officer takes its toll on even the strongest individuals. The constant need to perform at the highest level, putting your life at risk in a hostile environment, and the mental scarring of traumatic experiences. 31% of corrections officers show symptoms of PTSD, and 66% of people with PTSD also suffer with a substance abuse problem. The Transformations First Responders program is specially designed to help veterans and officers heal from the grips of addiction and PTSD in a comfortable, supportive, and serene setting. You are not alone. If you have questions about the services we offer, give us a call at 866-762-8454 to get more information on this affordable and life-changing program.
This motherfucker. World star. World star. World
Thank you guys for tuning into our sponsors. I appreciate that. Remember, the show's Tier Talks for those frontline professionals. And if you guys haven't, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, interact, engage, hit that bell. This way you get notified each time we post up a video. I actually have Gary York with me today, and Gary York's the author of Corruption Behind Bars. He also has his own YouTube channel, and he's a retired Florida inspector for the Florida Department of Corrections. And first off, he's been on my show multiple times before. So Gary, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me again, Anthony, and I'm looking forward to tonight's show and our trip to the USA Corrections Convention.
Yes, actually, me and Gary will be on a panel. I'll be leading the panel. I'm going to have Gary York, who I just mentioned, retired Florida inspector, author of Corruption Behind Bars and Inside the Inner Circle. I'll have Keith Helwig, who also an author. He's got over 30 years of correctional experience, and he wrote the book No Place Like Home and When Morning Comes. I also have psychologist Kim Boss. She's on the executive board of the New Jersey American Correctional Association with me. And I'm also going to have Russ Hamilton, retired sergeant from the California Department of Corrections. So we have a very good roundabout panel. And I think it's awesome that Corrections USA has picked me to do this, and I'm able to actually bring 4 other people with me to have a very good open discussion on where corrections needs to be in 2018 from a frontline perspective. Now, today, the growing concern right now, and the reason why I wanted to have this discussion is because obviously it's almost impossible to stop all contraband that comes into a correctional facility. And we could try all day, but unfortunately, inmates become more inventive, or sometimes the powers that be who have the ability to help us don't. The problem is that because we can't control all the contraband that comes into a facility, maybe it's good that we kind of let the public know of the dangers of what that contraband possesses. So today I want to focus on smartphones and their access to social media, basically giving the inmate a venue, or in some cases an international venue, to voice their concerns. And the reason why it's a problem for me is because right now, more than ever, you're actually seeing on Facebook in particular inmates on smartphones doing live videos from inside their cell, and that poses a serious security risk, besides also posing kind of like a mockery to those who are in the system, because we are meant to literally provide a safe and secured facility. And when inmates have those cell phones inside those facilities, I bet you the public looks right back at us saying, what are we really doing? Looking at us as staff, wondering, basically, how come we're not doing our job? So, Gary, why does smartphones inside a prison pose a threat?
Well, there's a ton of reasons. One of the things that's happening now is these inmates are live streaming from inside their prison cell on Facebook and other social sites, and they're getting thousands of followers. They may get 10,000 followers on the live stream. One of the biggest things that scares me is inmates can use smartphones not just for live streaming, but to direct drug operations, to direct escapes, to control people on the outside and tell them where to go to help them escape and so forth. There's so many reasons that these phones are dangerous. It's just unbelievable how many phones are in the prison system at this time across the country.
Right, and plus it also shows you parts of the facility that's not meant to be shown to the public. Like right now, unfortunately, with the use of social media, it can motivate an inmate, especially if the inmate feels that what they're doing is justified. And most of the time, believe it or not, their justification could just be the people from the public motivating them by getting together and kind of agreeing with the message. Like I know in Florida they've been having these protests, inmate slavery. I think one of the organizations is an organization called Push, and it's motivating the inmate. The inmate feels justified because now he has people on the outside pushing for them. But the worst part of this all is that once the public brings attention to this, and then the inmate receives that attention, there are going to be other inmates that are going to want that same attention. So now, instead of this being just one inmate, now you have multiple inmates, and now you have inmates that are going to start uniting, and they feel justified in their cause, and eventually they're going to start organizing. And that is the biggest threat for anybody working behind the wall. Inmate unity, inmates feeling justified about what they're doing and starting to organize in their cause. So, Gary, if you were an officer and you're working a tier and you got inmates that believe that they're justified in what they're doing, they're starting to organize, and they're all united, right off the bat, is staff threatened?
Yes, staff is threatened immediately, and what happens in a case like that is you better just back out, call your supervisors, and try to get some help, because the inmates have united now. So if you go in alone, or just a couple of you, you could really get hurt, and that's what's happening. Look how many officers have been attacked in the prison system. They've always had that happen, but it's happening more and more often now, and I believe it is because of the inmate unity. We just had an officer stabbed 30 times. Was it in Pennsylvania, where an inmate had a razor blade? A white supremacist inmate had a razor blade and attacked an officer. So, they're not scared anymore. We had captains in New York get jumped when they were walking through the dorm. Inmates are starting to unite across the country, and let's say this instance in Florida where they want us to have a work stoppage to prove their point. Well, right up above Florida here is Georgia. Don't think the inmates in Georgia don't hear about that, and other states. And they say, hey, let's have our own, and it just trickles through the whole country.
And what's scary is that the correctional system has sort of become dependent on the inmate labor. That's just kind of the history of history of corrections. So, and inmates know that we are dependent on that. That's why they're able to kind of make these movements, because they know a little bit about where we're vulnerable, and they're actually using that to their advantage. No different than them manipulating a single staff member when they place a target on their back. They're looking for vulnerability. So the inmates know the system better than we do. They know we move forward with inmate labor. That's why I'm going to tell you something right now. I would like to eliminate that sense of power. I don't like the feeling of obligation at all. So if the facilities are dependent on inmate labor, it makes us feel we're obligated to those inmates. So now the inmates are able to pose a threat that they feel is valid because we have become so dependent on that system. So there should be a way that we can sort of find an alternative to that. This way, when the inmates start posing that as a threat, we're able to say, okay, you do what you got to do, and we'll do what we got to do. Because what they do is anytime they pose a threat, they pose a threat based on what we're about or how we have to react. They know the system the best. Hunger strikes. They know we have to act. They know we got to keep them alive. So they're taking advantage of policies that we have play or past practices because they know it the best. They know how to take advantage of it. With this social media platform, gives them a chance to really get a good amount of support. But remember, the support right now is really far removed from any knowledge of how a correctional facility really runs. So the support that they're getting is pretty much blind support, but it doesn't matter. It's still support. It's support on a mass scale. They're supporting these inmates blindly. This goes ahead and empowers the inmates to kind of move forward whatever message they got, also to start bringing them together inside the facility. And now with the way the correctional system is going, we don't have inmates that are mostly locked in individual cells. We have inmates that are in open dorms. So the environment is ideal for inmate unity. But in the meantime, what we got to realize is that the inmates now have a platform. They're getting their voice out there, not like this is the first time ever that they're able to do that. We have to find a way to get ahead of that. And the only way I've been thinking about, Gary, is to really start educating the public about the system. So when inmates start getting that platform out there, then we have a little bit of a better informed public, if you will, that will be able to say, you know what, not all that is true. But right now, the public follows this blindly.
Well, what we have to teach the public is the inmates are using manipulation and propaganda in their messages when they send these live streams out from their cell. What people don't understand is the inmates are only telling them what they want them to hear. And how many times have I listened to inmate phone calls during investigations while they're talking to a family, a friend, or a relative, and the stories that they're telling the family and friends is totally false. There's no way this thing is going on, and that's what they're doing with these live streams. They're painting this terrible picture, and the public is falling for it because they don't know our side of the story. And you're absolutely right. They're only hearing one side of the story, which is manipulated, and propaganda is being pushed onto the public.
Right, and what I don't like is these push to protest, because when they're protesting, it's one-sided. No one's actually sitting at the table talking to people who work the field saying, hey, what's going on? They're not. They're automatically, like you said, they're getting it one-sided, they're taking it from the inmate, and then they're protesting as if that inmate's word is golden. Well, you know what, he has a history, or she has a history of proving that their word isn't golden. But it's funny how as soon as they get locked up, they become these angels who never lie, and that's what's very frustrating. Why are we not, you have these advocates, well, why are we not going to the table, talking together, and seeing what are the exact concerns here, and how can we meet these concerns in the middle? Because right now, these protests are coming out so one-sided and being pushed so rapidly. If there ever is any acceptance to what people are protesting about. You're pushing these things blindly, and you're getting staff hurt. Rikers Island is a perfect example. They're getting assaulted left and right, and they can't do nothing with the inmates because they're pushing no solitary confinement. You can't remove the inmate from GP. You're not giving them a chance to control their house and give anything punitive to inmates who literally pose a threat and are a constant security concern to staff and other inmates. And it's really upsetting because right now, with all these one-sided changes, we're also feeling forgotten. We're feeling that no one gives a shit about us, and we're becoming disenfranchised. And now, what does that do when we go back to work? Tension, because we're aggravated. So the tension gets increased. We don't want to do our job because we don't feel protected if we do. What do you think, Gar?
Well, these smartphones have given the inmates a tactical edge that they have not had in the past.
Right.
In the past, their tactical edge would be writing a letter to 5 different pen pal women or men and telling them that you're the only one and I love you and I need you to send me this money, or I need you to bring me these drugs, or I need you to do this. And it was all done either by phone or by letter. In today's world, the inmates now have gained a big tactical advantage because these smartphones are being smuggled into the prison system one way or another, and they're using that now to attack the correctional officers and the whole system. They're attacking the entire system with these cell phones. So doing the same thing they used to do with pen and paper and phone in the old days, now they're doing it with technology.
Well, and you know what's sad is, like you mentioned, just the chance they have that mass scale of communication like they never had before, and people are probably, as soon as they post up, people are sharing that post like crazy, including the family members. Nobody's reporting it except for us. Here we are trying to, put it on all our groups to see if anybody recognizes the inmate or recognizes their uniform or whatever it is. We're trying to figure it out, and we're, it's harder for us. But we send it out to 50 or 60,000 people that we could get it out to. But for a fact, there's people who know who that inmate is, who's watching that inmate go live, and they're not calling the correctional facility to say, hey, listen, we believe such and such has a smartphone and he's streaming live from his prison cell. And the reason why I know we wouldn't expect them to do it, but guys, that cell phone that's being used can also be used for what? To smuggle in drugs, to do hits on the streets. I mean, to continue crime. So why are we not...
Escape plans.
Right, escape plans.
You know what happens during escapes? During escapes, not only do correctional staff get injured, but if they do successfully escape, how many times have we seen them kill people on the streets during their run?
But Gary, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. And guys, escapes were big last year. Don't forget, you had the 2 guys that attacked the 2 officers in Georgia on the transport. Then, unfortunately, you had 4 inmates that tried to escape in North Carolina and killed 4 staff members. So it's real. Now with that phone, they can organize the extra part. So we have the planned escape from inside the facility, but with that smartphone, guess what we can also organize? Our trip once we get out of that facility. Or now with drones, we can organize drop-offs into yard. So that smartphone is extremely dangerous, and I would expect if people saw a video like that and they recognize somebody, do us a public service. Help us. Help us ultimately help you. Because at the end of the day, when that inmate escapes, that inmate poses a threat, now your life's at risk, and what are you going to wind up doing? You're going to wonder why we didn't do anything about it. Well, you could have helped us. You knew he had a phone. You saw it. You knew who he was.
You were on the topic of drones, and since we're talking about technology, let me just say real quick. The drone jammers that are being used now work fine on the drones that are made in the United States. Now they found a way around the drone jammers. They're ordering drones from Russia or other countries that have a different sensor or some kind of different dial code, and our jammers won't detect them and won't jam them. So they've even circumvented the drone situation now we have to get more advanced to try to stop the drones. So you got your smartphones and you have your drones. They're getting high tech.
Which
the inmates of today.
Right, by the way, I believe it's Nebraska. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's Nebraska. They're pushing for laws now to make flying a drone over a correctional facility illegal, which is surprising. It should be illegal automatically, but I remember reading the article on that, and hopefully that opens up people's eyes. I mean, again, we were talking about why can't they just jam cell phones in correctional facilities? And we think that would be totally easy, and that's not easy for whatever reason. That's insane. I don't know why, because that would end it all. You know, that would help us out greatly. Hey, we're having trouble stopping cell phones from coming in, and we know it's hard. Because, I mean, don't forget, I mean, we're not perfect. We have dirty custody staff members, dirty staff members in general. We got inmate visits. So, you know, there's millions of ways that smartphone can come in. So help us protect the public, help us protect the facility by allowing us to jam any type of cell phone reception behind the wall. But that is not easy. So ultimately, I feel like the world is kind of against us in what we ultimately need to do. But right now, those inmates getting onto that social platform and the amount of followers that they get immediately, that is a serious threat, because at the end of the day, it makes the inmate feel justified. It's going to cause inmate unity, because trust me, when Mr. Popular gets all those people from the public supporting him, people are going to ride with that. And then you're going to start getting some type of organization. And then when an officer goes to approach them to give a simple directive, oh my God, the inmate's going to feel justified as they assault that officer, because they're going to feel that there's a support that's coming from the public on a national or international level.
Well, you know, the bad boy image, it just amazes me how many people are attracted to the bad boy image. It's the bad boy is the hero, it seems like nowadays. Where when I grew up, you know, it was the white hat, the good guy that was the hero. And it seems to be taking a role reversal as time goes on, and the public, and not all the public, I know that, but there's a certain group of our public that just loves the bad boys.
Well, you want to know what's funny about that, Gav? Right now, I think part of that support comes from the fact that we are not able to contest it because we're afraid to. Because we're afraid we'll either be punished by our job or whatever the case may be. So we're not able to give people reality of the truth. So the people that are spreading these lies, they're doing it uncontested. That's why it's important that me and you have venues like this, because when something airs, we're quick to go against it, and hopefully with the support and the numbers, that will start to carry a little bit more weight. But the concern here right now is these uncontested lies that the public, not knowing much about the system that we're in, they believe that because that's the only information that they're getting. So if you don't contest it right at the very beginning, that's going to become a permanent belief. Then it's harder for us to defend ourselves. That's why we're behind right now. We're behind right now because we just started now finding a voice. So all these problems that have come to this point where literally we're in corrections on a national level is in a very bad predicament here. Understaffing, overpopulation, I mean, just a bunch of concerns. That's because for years we haven't been able to challenge or contest anything. But now that our voices are starting to get out there, now you're starting to see people say, hey, wait a second. Still not 100% with us, but hey, wait a second. There's stuff that we have to be doing. But why haven't we been doing this stuff before? Well, we didn't know it. No, you kind of knew about it, but again, you listened to one side. No one ever went back and asked us. Like, you can hear all the lies you want, but I blame you for never going to us and encouraging us to say, hey, what's going on? That's why we were afraid. Because no one was going to support us when we spoke up. How come nobody came to us directly and asked us what was going on? We're at this point now because nobody came to us directly when shit was hitting the fan, asking us, hey, what's going on? Because when shit's hitting the fan, it's affecting us. We're the front line. We have the best knowledge and literally the experience to understand what's going on and to help fix it. But no one's coming to us. And check this out. We don't want to put our name on anything. We want to just live. So we want to do the right thing because it's our survival. But the people that don't want to go to us, that's because they know that we challenge their perspective. And all they want to do is put their name on something and become famous. Well, guess what? Your name is pretty much signing the death of all these officers who are right now getting killed because you're implementing the wrong practices that have made our facilities vulnerable. Hey, Gary, I got a minute left. Do you have anything you want to say in closing?
I just want to say that it's almost like the correctional officer staff have become the defendants, and we're in a courtroom, and we have no right to speak. It seems like it's getting that way, and our hands are tied, and we've got to figure out a way to untie our hands and get our voice out there. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Gary York, author of Corruption Behind Bars, Inside the Inner Circle. Follow him on Facebook. Also, check out his YouTube channel, his very informative YouTube channel. Both of us have the same mission, kind of giving that knowledge out there so people can understand what we do. And that's the key. And hopefully when we get changes, the changes will be beneficial to us. Again, you can't protect the inmates without protecting staff first. And for social media platforms, they got their platform fine, and we have to create a bigger one. That's the only way we're going to get our voices heard. That person's 10,000 strong, well, bang, as soon as we go on live, we're 50,000 strong. That's what we got to be. 5 times better. All right, guys, love you guys. Stay safe, and please hit that like, subscribe, interact, engage, and hit that bell. It'll notify you every time I post up a video. Take care, guys. Love you guys. Stay safe.